Today's public hearing on the controversial Hays Study pay scales for GovGuam employees emanates from an attempt to cut law enforcement out of their legally scheduled raises. Bill 469-30 aims to repeal Public Law 29-105, the law enforcement pay raise legislation that recently landed Adelup in court for their alleged refusal to implement this year's 10% pay increase on October 1st for Guam's law enforcement community. Local attorney Dan Summerfleck is representing the class that has decided to sue GovGuam to force adherence to the law.
It's like any other law. I mean, if the governor breaks into a bank and steals money, he's not able to say, well, I decided I'm not really going to follow that law today. No, you broke into a bank, you robbed the bank, you go to jail. We're expected to, as citizenry, to follow the law. We're expected as members of this community to follow the law. But yet, when it comes down to what we should be modeling ourselves after, our government, they're not following the law.
To have a law passed and then to be sued to enforce it. It's sad because then it speaks again of the character of the individual. What other laws is this person ready to ignore?
Senator Adolfo Palacios contends that Governor Camacho has no legitimate reason to deny law enforcement personnel their pay raises.
There is $13.1 million that's set aside, supposedly, to fund the Hays Study. So by the mere fact that there's $30 million, more than enough to implement the 10%, the governor completely has no excuse at all in this suit. What is he going to say? There's no funds?
But Summerfleck believes GovGuam may never have intended to pay this year's salary increase.
The question about did they budget for this and did they do the appropriate steps to ensure it would happen, I don't believe they did.
Summerfleck may be correct. According to a source from Adelup, unlike previous fiscal year budgets, the FY 2011 budget did not appropriate funds to implement the 10%. The impact may be as much as $6 million, of which there is no appropriation.
What is considered a moral employer? The first moral is that you don't cheat your employees. But if you don't pay someone wages that they're required to be paid by law, well, that speaks very poorly for us as a community.
Reporting for Guam News Watch, I'm Michael Rudolph.